G'day folks, it's Rob here, and in today's clip I just wanted to give you guys a bit of an update as to why I haven't been doing a lot of garden clips as such. I've been pumping out the aquaponic ones fairly consistently, but I haven't been working down in the patch. I'll give you a bit of a look at what that looks like in a little while, but I just wanted to get through this first. Also starting off at the aquaponics, won't be showing it much today, just because it's a lot cooler up here than down out the back in the sun. Well, I've actually been pretty hesitant about doing this clip, just because I don't like talking about myself too much. I prefer to show folks what I'm doing, and if they can get a couple of ideas from that, all the better. But it turns out that I've picked up a bit of a health condition while doing the bits and pieces around the backyard here. I've picked up what is known broadly as farmer's lung, and it's not actually a disease as such. It's a immune response or an allergy to pathogens, or what the body perceives as pathogens within the environment. It's basically called hypersensitive pneumonitis. I think I'm pronouncing these words correctly. And it's an allergic reaction to fungal or mold spores. Now, the particular spores involved with this, but it's not just limited to this, is hay and straw, which I have worked with in the past, compost, which I've been doing a fair bit of work with recently, bagasse, also known as sugarcane mulch, something I work with daily most of the times if I'm scratching around the beds, and also mushroom spores, which I've been doing quite a bit of over the last 10 or so months. You can also get a similar condition working with grain, and bird workers get something very similar as well, as people who work in the poultry industry, or maybe keep pigeons or a large flock of poultry at home. Now, the symptoms for this are pretty varied, but the basic ones that most people will get are chills and fevers, productive cough, if you know what I mean. Used to get bronchitis as a kid, and the cough and the stuff I've been coughing up is probably 2 or 3 times as worse as that. Shortness of breath and a tight chest, and also tiredness and lethargy. Now, you also get production of interferons. Now, interferons are basically the proteins in the body that are activated when you get the flu. They're the ones that make your joints and your muscles feel like you've been run over by a truck. And with this condition, depending on how severe you get it, you can get quite a lot of these interferons released into the body. It got to the point where I was laid up, couldn't physically do much for 5 days, just with the effect of the body and joint aches and pains, and then took me about another week to just get up to being able to work for a couple of hours out in the garden. So it does tend to knock you around quite a bit. I've actually got a supporter, and her husband contracted a similar condition working with a lot of mulch when they were mulching their orchard. And he was actually laid up for quite a few months. So it can actually get very, very serious. They had to cut back on a lot of stuff they were doing. So the good news is he is getting a lot better. In saying that he's getting a lot better, and I'm feeling reasonably well at the moment, it's not something you can really be cured from at the moment, because it is just an immune reaction. It's something the body's picked up through exposure, and unfortunately every case, or every time you get a bout of it, depending on the level of exposure, the symptoms can get worse and worse, as I've found. It started off in March for me, right around the time that COVID hit Australia. I was just getting a bit of a constant cough and production of green. It wasn't COVID. A few aches and pains, and I didn't really know what was going on, and it progressively got worse from that. Every couple of weeks it just hit me again and again and again. I actually got to the point where I was thinking I was just a bit of a hypochondriac, a bit of a malingerer, until we worked out what it was, and it turned out to be the mushrooms we were growing on the veranda looked to be the major trigger for me. We had them getting past the ripe stage, or what you generally consider a ripe stage with a mushroom, and they started to produce spores. And the wombat that I am, trying to get nice close-up crisp pictures and videos, was sticking my head inside the little tent we were using to grow them and inhaling a lot of spores, and it was just progressively making me worse and worse and worse, to the point where I was really concerned for my health, as was Bianca. You get a little bit worried when you can't even hold a glass of water steady when you're trying to drink it due to the shakes because of a fever. So that's when we decided to go to the doctors. So at least I know what it is now. I've been to the specialist once. I was going to hold off doing a clip until I got the final results. I've got some interim results, but I've just had a load of people ask me why I aren't doing, or I'm not posting clips on the garden as such, and they haven't seen any photos of the new garden beds out the back. So I'll take you down there in a minute and give you a look at where I'm up to. So yeah, it's just a case of waiting for the rest of the results. The specialist said he's not a bedding man, but it looks like it's the mushroom spores in particular that I'm susceptible to. I've had a CAT scan just to see if there's any permanent damage in my lungs, which is something that can happen as well. And also some blood tests to see if they can pin down what the actual offending pathogen is, or spore is, that causes this with me, or causes me to break out with the symptoms. As a result, I haven't been working with any compost, any mulch. Well, I tell a fib, I have been doing a little bit of compost work, basically digging out holes in the compost cage out the back and dumping our scraps from the kitchen in there. That's about all I've been doing. As for the garden work, I've been planting the odd seedling here or there, starting a few seeds, and that's pretty much all it. And yeah, just basically working with the aquaponics. So yeah, there you go, you're up to speed. I think I've covered everything. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. So there will be garden clips coming on down the line. I'm just waiting to see what the blood results are, to see if compost is something that sets me off, or the sugarcane mulch, or whether it's just mushrooms. If it is just the mushrooms, we will still grow them. We've got them popping up in the mulch down the back around the garden bed, so that's a bit of a bonus. But we won't be doing them near the house, and we'll also be harvesting them well and truly before they get to the stage where they start to drop the spores and can be an issue. So yeah, there you go. Enough nattering on about me. What I'll do now is pick up the camera, give you a very quick look at the aquaponics. I'll do another update on these at another time, and take you for a bit of a walk down the back and show you where I at least got up to down there. So as I said, folks, just a quick little update on the aquaponics. As you can see, or hopefully you can see through the glare, the water clarity in there is really good at the moment. I've had that other filter on now for a couple of weeks, and it seems to be doing a great job at keeping a lot of the fines out of there. I also have increased the flow into the tank itself, and that has helped. I'll show all that in another clip in a few ways that I tried to fix that problem. As for the plants are doing really well, can't really complain. We've been harvesting a fair few of the bok choy, sort of progressively harvesting some of the lower leaves, as well as some whole heads. We actually made up some very nice, I think it's called bulgogi style Korean stir fry, or braised actually, more like a braise, the other night with some of these guys. Tasted absolutely fantastic. You also use some homegrown carrots in that one too. I wanted to give you folks a quick look at the blueberry tomato. I shared a picture the other day on YouTube just to show you the view from the top, but as you can see, we've got just as much growth down the side here. And yeah, this is what the berries look like, or the fruit look like, I should say, tomatoes. I was told by a fellow shopper at the place where I bought this that they had these and they were a very sweet fruit. I've since read online that a lot of these darker skinned tomatoes tend to have a thicker skin, not very sweet as such, but do have a nice rich tomato flavour. So we were after more a cherry tomato just to pop in salads, a nice little sweet berry. So what we've done is gone and got some, I think they're a Tommy-toe cherry tomato, and I'll just be popping them over here in this corner here, and just let them cascade down the side of the grow bed. And this plant here, we're just going to let grow down the side, and I will be trimming back some of the top of the bush. It's starting to smother things like the carrots over there. I've noticed some of them have actually died and rotted out the other day, just because they've been crushed, and also smothering our beetroot down in here, which almost look like they're ready to harvest anyway. So yeah, that's a little bit of an update on the aquaponics. Just down here, next to the Lizzie dog. Hello Lizzie, quick update for Lizzie. She's a beautiful pup, but she's getting very, very old, and we're now having to carry her down and upstairs, and we spend a lot of time downstairs now. She's just getting old, and the turmerics and the lotions and potions and the medicines, you know, aren't keeping her very mobile, but we're doing our best, aren't we, love? In front of Lizzie, we have our vanilla orchids. This one here has got some new growth on it there. And down here, I thought I'd stuff this one up. I thought this was the base. Turns out this was the top. So I stripped all the base leaves and only left one on here, and I thought I'd killed it, but it looks like we've got another little growth point coming out of there. So it looks like we've got ourselves 2 vanilla orchids to set up down the back at a later date. Now, as you would have seen from the thumbnail, we now have a more robust shade cover for the garden. This one is just back to the old basic hoop house design that I've been using with the irrigation pipe, and just running some of the top hat bracing that's used in gyprocking or drywalling as the supports, and it's doing really well. I haven't actually fastened off these hoops yet. I just want a couple of people around to do it so we can lift it up and down at the same time, with someone up on the deck up there trying to line up these cross beams just to make them all level. It just helps if you've got, you know, at least one person on every corner to do that. So we'll get to that down the line. The rest of the bed's down the back here. Well, not a lot's gone on. We've taken a couple of large borage out, and we are looking at putting some other plants in here. I was thinking some of those Tommy Toad tomatoes, and there's a few other bits and pieces I want to plant out. I think it's I'm stalling because I forgot the name. There you go, the name's up there. It's a salad green. It's called the King of Herbs, or the King of Salad, I think. And yeah, we want to put that in there. By the way, this isn't a weed. This is purslane, a great little, you know, volunteer that pops up all around the place. We've used this in different curries as like a sag or a palak style curry. I've left this one in here because, you know, it makes a nice little living ground cover, and we can just nip off little bits and pieces and throw in salads. It is good to get it before it sets flowers though, because you end up with seeds and they get a little bit gritty in dishes. Chinese red shallots we've just been harvesting as we need them, and the same with the chives down here, just taking a handful at a time. This bed down here has some all year basil. Haven't been using a lot of that, just haven't had a lot of salads. I did try to make up a little bit of a pesto style sauce with this, and yeah, it's a little bit too pungent. It's got a little bit of a stronger flavour than the sweet basil, so we haven't used that too much. Here we have some climbing Blue Lake beans. They're doing rather well. Got a number of beans off them so far, not enough for a whole meal, but enough to snack on. And the carrots down here, we have been harvesting a fair bit of. We've got a few down here that are growing a little bit wonky. There's actually a leg down in the ground there, but most of them are coming out nice and straight. These wicking beds, I haven't progressed any further on these guys other than to turn them over so they don't collect water. I just don't want to seriously work with compost or anything until I get the all clear from the doctors, so we'll deal with that when the time comes. Down here, some of the red Chinese amaranth goes very nice in salads, provides a little bit of flavour. I would recommend though taking from the tip and cooking the larger base leaves. Down here we have some daikon that has gone to seed. I posted a picture a while back of some lacto-ferment daikon, just with some of the carrots. It's just basically like you'd make a sauerkraut or any lacto-ferment veg. Chop them up in small pieces, put them in a jar, add a brine solution and leave them out on a bench. After 4 or 5 days, I just pop that in the fridge, and I've been having a couple of spoonfuls every morning. Got to make up a new batch soon. Probably should have some up there now. And as you can see, we've got some very nice large roots down there. So I might actually pull a couple out now, and then I will go and make them up this afternoon, because we have a load of carrots down there I need to be harvesting as well. So there you go, a couple of nice daikon for another round of pickles, and I'll also be adding some of our own homegrown ginger to that. This veggie bed here is just being pretty much all let go at the moment. The reason being is Bianca and I have decided we will just create the 5-bed run of wicking beds down here, all in one crack. They're not going to be joined at the sump level. They will all be individual wicking beds, but we're looking at cladding the sides, and that'll give us over 5 square meters of grow space just down the center. And then what we're going to do is have another run on the other side, and slightly different bed setup here. Hopefully it'll be a wicking bed that's connected to the aquaponics that is over on that side of the yard. Just for you folks who want a mini update on that. This barrel and the rest of them here will be coming out to make way for another run of beds. Down here, some more carrots. We've got some rather nice sized ones from in here. This is actually a purslane bed originally. We were growing a load of purslane in this. There's been a carrot bed, then a purslane bed, then a carrot bed. I'll take a couple of these out for the pickles. And over here we had a spud barrel. I've posted clips on growing potatoes before, don't have the best of luck. But this time around, it looks like we did okay. This one at the top though, a bit too exposed to the sun. Yeah, the plants died ages ago. But I did dig down the other day, and we have a nice big one there. and hopefully we'll have a few more larger ones down lower. So looking forward. Oh, there's another one from this plant over here, another smaller one. So yeah, we will be harvesting these very soon. Bush cockroach. We will be harvesting these guys very soon though. Just need to cover those potatoes up, otherwise they go green, and we don't want them to go green. Over here, the broccoli. Harvested loads and loads and loads of heads out of these guys, just continually taking off the side shoots. Some of the side shoots are actually larger than the original heads. But what I did was I left all the seed pods on there, came down here the other day and harvested all the seed pods, because even though, you know, they may not grow true to type because we had other brassicas going to seed at the same time, there's loads of little seeds in there, and I want to try sprouting broccoli. Maybe not the best variety to sprout as a sprouting broccoli, but I thought I'd give it a crack anyway. And down here we already have the next generation coming through. Now coming into summer, this coming week, I think we've got, starting tomorrow or maybe Sunday, we got 38 degrees all the way up to 41 I think one day. Yeah, they don't do too well in our summer heat here, but they are something that you can grow for the leaves. These smaller leaves, they taste absolutely fantastic in small stir fries and braised dishes and in salads. The trick is trying to beat them before these little guys, the little cabbage butterflies. So maybe if I'm going to keep using these as a green, I should probably spray these with some dipel. Quick look at these beds over here. These are the beds I'm really kicking myself I didn't do before I got really crook. They're the turmeric beds and the ginger beds. I wanted to move them out of here and set them up in some other beds, but we're just going to let them go now. And yeah, I should really come down and give them a bit of a liquid feed and a top dress with a compost just to keep them going. And this here is our beautiful sunshine chili. We got a nice bowl full of fruit off of this the other day, and Bianca is going to make up either a chili jam or a chili sauce out of this. Yeah, but the other plants are doing okay. A couple more turmeric, some finger ginger, volunteer sunshine chili over there. This is where the mushroom buckets now live, down the back. Yeah, if they start to drop spores, the chance of me breathing in a large amount that's going to affect me is pretty much all, yep, very, very small. The native bees, they're doing their thing. Actually found a swarm out the front the other day, moving into a tree. So that was pretty cool. And for you folks who thought I was setting up a new aquaponics system, no, I'm just consolidating my mother's. This is the aquaponics system that was around at my mother's place. Just due to a few different health reasons around there, we've decided to pull it out. And I gave them all the veggie pods that were sitting along here. I've been wanting to set them up for the last couple of months, but again, because I don't want to stuff around with the compost or mulch or anything like that for the time being, I haven't set them up yet. So Mum's a bit grumpy at me, as I can understand. She wants to get out in the garden, but she's still got her other pots and veggie pod there. This is actually where we will be setting up a new aquaponics system. Actually, probably two side by side. I picked up some new beds the other day. Thank you very much, Stephen. And hopefully we're going to have at least 3 grow beds. What's that work out to be? About 6 square meters worth of grow bed space. A couple of fish tanks and filters down that end, and hopefully a bit of a cover over the top to stop any bits and pieces from the trees falling in and water from outside. And yeah, if we build it nice enough, we might be able to have some screens around it just to help keep the bugs out in summer. Just move back into the shade up here, I think. I do hope that you enjoyed that little bit of a look at the garden and just how things are going on, and also the explanation as to why I haven't been posting a lot of clips on the patch. Seriously folks, the way I got hit the last 2 or 3 times when I got exposed to the spores, I don't want to take any more risks, because, you know, being laid up for a week, basically in pain every time you move, isn't a very nice thing. And then, you know, it takes you a couple of weeks to get over that again. So yeah, I'm just leaving that all be till I get the test results, get the all clear, and yeah, then I'll hook back into the garden. I mean, there's ways around it. I could, you know, shave all this, get an Amish style beard cut, and wear an N95 or N94 mask whenever I'm working with compost and those sorts of things. But I think I'll be able to find other ways around it. But yeah. Anyway, there's a little bit of an update. Before I go, I would like to thank all you folks who have stuck around to the end here. I'll have a look at the analytics later, and I can guarantee I'll only have about 10% of the people who clicked on the clip still at this point in here. But yeah, I really do appreciate the support and you folks, you know, taking an interest on what we do around here. I do hope you get a couple of helpful tips and ideas here and there. Many thanks to the very patient supporters who have stuck around with us for so long. I have been keeping them in the loop, sort of, as to what's what's going on here with my health, and they get updates fairly regularly. I feel, you know, it's the least I can do, seeing they're so generous to support the channel monetarily. So yeah, thank you very much, Farm Your Own Yard folks and YouTube members. I will pretty much will leave it there though. I do hope you're all well and happy, and I will catch you later. Cheers folks, have a top one.